Okay, hey everyone. This is Misery Loves Company, a weekly reading series from miserytourism.com, where I guess what we say every week is outsider and transgressive authors come and read their work, share their work with us. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can find a whole bunch of these on our channel, so maybe go check them out, or go to miserytourism.com, click on our Twitter account, and follow us to see when the next reading will be. It's every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time. With that said, we've got a few people signed up to read and or perform tonight. First up is Jesse. Are you with us, Jesse?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, so the floor is 100% yours.
Awesome. Thanks, William. How's everybody doing? I've been into telling people lately that I'm a part of a uh, collective of young men that would like to write for HBO's Ballers, starring Dwayne Johnson, and the star of Tenet. I forget his name. But yeah, I've been thinking a lot about that. You know that one song by Dr. Dre where he was like, damn, you looking good, all 10 of y'all. I always thought to myself, like, that's hella people, you know? And now it's like too much, you know? Like that's like a super spreader. And definitely it wouldn't fly at all today. It would probably get called in. Um, yeah, last year sucked. It began with the death of Kobe Bryant, and it ended with the announcement of MF Dooms. You know, growing up, I always would ask groups of friends that I'm in, like whichever group of friends that I'm in, like if they're affluent, like to hip hop, I would always be like, who do you think would win in a battle out of MF Doom and Ghostface Killah? And it would always fuck them up. Like, they'd just be like, I don't think that would happen. Like, I think if anything, they would probably be more likely to collab. So, yeah, we're coming back from the holidays and everything. And, during like New Year's, I posted a pic of my friends and I in a group thread when I realized the next morning that there was a lot of cocaine in it. And so I had to be like, I didn't do any of that cocaine. And they were like, what cocaine? And I was just like, oh, never mind. You know, the dating apps, I'm on Hinge, and like one of the most confusing things about them, I think, is the prompts. Like most recently, I said in one of them, change my mind about mountain climbing, and someone was like, I don't like it because it's hard, and I was like, same. That's what I meant. Like, change my mind about that, and they misunderstood, and so I unmatched. And then yeah, like during the summer, I was confused by another person's prompt because it said, "Don't be surprised if I drown." And the confusing thing about it is because I was like, what are you up to? And she was just like, I'm chilling out by the pool. I think one of the most embarrassing things I ever did was move to New York during the pandemic. Um, so what's it called? One of my friends got banned from like all dating apps, and he has no idea like what it was, but like there's no appeals process. So like if your account gets suspended, they're just like rules are rules. And I thought to myself, that would be like when they tried to suspend my Revel account, and I had to fight tooth and nail for that shit. But it's like it really is pathetic to like have to fight for like any like right to use any application. My friend was sending me a picture of like a house he wants, and I said, you want that? And he was like, yeah, if I knew how to fix up a house. The place is trashed inside, and it would be cool to buy something like that with some people and fix it up. And I was like, that would be cool. Just like a house full of people coming up with hella mediocre statuses. What's it called? This is all like kind of like new stuff. I'm just like workshopping. I was telling him my roommate is hella crushing it on his job search. And he was like, you should be like, hey man, good job, and give him a high five. And I was just like, that would probably just start an argument. And he was like, what? Why? Someone sits in a drive-through line to McDonald's for 8 hours thinking it was for COVID tests. McDonald's should be a COVID testing site. If you've had the McRib, don't worry about what's in the vaccine. Chess.com's slogan should be get your ass beat at chess.com. You know how cuffing season to most people means holding something down throughout the winter? Well, my idea of that is usually taking a break from dating altogether. All we have is sports on all the time at my house. You would swear we run a sports bar, and it's not even like sports games. It's just like sports podcast talk shows, which is really fucked because those don't go anywhere. Like, you would think with all that talk, it's going to lead up to a game eventually, but it never does. But it's either that or CNN. I think I'm going to end on that, but this is cool. Thanks, William.
Thank you, Jesse. That was hilarious. You fucking killed me with the McDonald's COVID test.
Oh wow, yeah, that one got me really hard too.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's always a pleasure having you. This is great. And it's a great way to open these things, I think. It really helps to like loosen people up. So I really appreciate it. That was funny as fuck, man. Thank you.
That was awesome.
Totally. Anytime.
Okay, up next, I just have to Derek is up next.
I was sitting there hoping, I was like, please not, like, my shit doesn't even have punchlines. All right. Can you hear me okay?
You have two pieces for us tonight, right?
I do. I have two pieces. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, you sound good. You sound good. Yeah.
All right. Let me
I'll put the links down in the chat and you can have the floor.
Thank you. Let me exit full screen. Listen, this is all, I'm not like technologically hip. Okay, the first thing I'm going to read is the first poem that I've ever written or published or anything. I'm going to give like a 2-second introduction to it because it could be helpful. This is right here. This is Fernando Pessoa's The Book of Disquiet. And Portuguese poet, writer guy, 1913, 14, all that time period. He had 75 aliases that he wrote under, and this book keeps growing. They're still finding stuff and translating it, and so I wrote a poem about it. The title is Fernando Paseo, I am scared to commune with you. I study your life, Fernando Pessoa. I listen to the stories. I imagine your loneliness. Fernando Pessoa, did you really leave an entire literature in a trunk? I have overheard the following, Fernando, and I demand to know its truth. The Book of Disquiet will rewire your brain. The Book of Disquiet is unsettling. The Book of Disquiet is incomplete. There are still fragments being found in a trunk which may one day be included in the Book of Disquiet. You wrote, I know not what tomorrow will bring on a pad or in a journal at the Hospital de Saint-Louis, November 29th, 1935, and died the next day, aged 47, in the evening, of course, having drank yourself to death. Fernando Paseo does not exist for existing too much. I have not read you, Fernando Paseo. I am afraid. Fernando Paseo, tell me the truth, God damn it. Are you writing the Book of Disquiet from your grave? Is it such a terrible winter, Fernando? What with all this death and isolation to finally dance with you? We have been avoiding each other, Fernando Paseo. I believe you have something for me, Fernando Paseo. I shall come in the evening, of course, to collect. Literature is a conversation with ghosts. It is the occult. The secret society is literature, and literature comes to us as a warning from the dead, written in absolute fear while we are alive. Fernando Pessoa, I believe you have something which belongs to me. Are you going to hurt me, Fernando Pessoa? I am a happy man. This is an entirely different century. I have children and a wife. I cannot abandon them for you or your suggestions. They have excellent medications now, Fernando. I must not be taken on your ship. I resign myself to you in protest. I have never read your work, Fernando Pessoa. You visited me on a stretch of road many years ago and demanded I cease. I disobeyed you, Fernando Pessoa, and was that you in the window of the Whitaker Psychiatric Residential Treatment Facility? I shunned you twice, no, 1,000 times. I've never written a poem. I don't know how. I do not have the luxury of 25, 75 assistants. I quit drinking when my son was born, Fernando Pessoa, because I lived with my father once. Fernando Pessoa, I swear to whatever ether exists from which you continue to write your little scraps of paper that if you hurt me or my family, I will fucking hunt you down in that cosmic expanse. I have had my eye trained on you since birth, since before, since the birth of something else, something terrible, like a secret. Not a secret exactly, but something unknown, which I'm told you know something about. I understand you've written to me a poem, perhaps. All right, and that is that. And then next is a little story. I write little stories. This one is on macro and micro this week. This is called Maps. I have to get into a totally different voice because I'm not going to Fernando Pessoa this one. Maps. Papa's got me waiting in the car. He's taking me to Nana's because Mama's screaming makes me scream. Papa says he can't think like that. Mama slipped in the shower and is hurt. Papa is taking care of her and she'll be all right. But she has a lot of bruises and her nose is leaking blood like the hose out back when you forget to twist it all the way to the right. And that's just wasting water, you little shit, is what Papa says. And how long it's been like that, he asks me. And I tell him since we put up the slip and slide, I guess. And he tells me that won't fly around here. But I don't know what made me think of that because it was a while ago that happened. Oh, Mama's blood, that's right. There's a lot of it coming out. Papa's in the car, we're ready to go. Are you ready, kid? I'm ready. Papa asked me to hand him a beer from the back. He's got his hands full driving. I hand him a beer from the back. Papa puts on Stormfront by Billy Joel. When Papa puts on Stormfront by Billy Joel, his eyes well up. When Papa puts on Stormfront by Billy Joel, I'm supposed to listen to the words, really listen and hush up. I hush up. We turn left at the end of the street to get to Nana's. Papa takes a sip of beer. Past Four Brothers gas station. Can we stop and get a candy bar? But Papa doesn't hear me over Billy Joel. Papa takes a drink from the glove box. He gets bad headaches, closes the glove box. Papa starts turning left when sharp, stomach, glass shards and skin blood. I hang out above for a minute and watch the cars spin, twisty twirlies. Someone took a hammer and hammered out all the sound. Everything's muffled. It smells like gasoline. Papa's coughing. God fucking damn it, Papa shouts. I wake up. Beep, 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 tubes. Mama is in the chair. Papa is sitting in the chair next to her. There's a new man here. New man is pacing by my bedside. I fall back into a kind of sleep. I dream. I dream of thuds. Uncle Raymond in the tree stand. Aim and pop. Thud. I see it through binoculars. The stag falls. Rests. Nana in her bathroom. Snapback and pound. Thud. I see it through the cracked space I peer through, sometimes watch cousin Misty peeing. Nana throw her head to mirror 1, 2, 3 times. No shatter, no blood. Nana careful, not like mama. Nana sigh, cracked bat thud, fist face thud, car, thud. I wake up. Beep, 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 beep. Still tubes. Only mama in the chair. She gets real close to me. Honey, honey, oh my, you're fine. You're gonna be fine, they say. Everyone says you're fine, really. But honey, honey, a man is gonna come around here and you got to. I dream again. I dream of hiding places. The shed, the woods, fort, attic, under the bed, my bed, mama bed, Nana bed. I wake up. New man is next to me in chair. Mama in chair out of focus. Papa in chair out of focus too. Hard voice, real voice. I need to ask you a couple of questions when you're feeling up to it. Same voice I remember in the courtroom, judge voice. He called me son. Papa didn't like that. Judge also wanted to ask me some questions. I looked out and saw mama. Her face still very puffy and her eyes looked like the whole ocean, wide and deep. I looked out and saw Papa. His eyes steady, focused like a beacon. Papa told me what to say to the judge. Mama told me to tell the truth. I didn't know which. Looked at Mama's eyes, saw ocean. Looked at Papa's eyes, saw beacon. Needed a map, not a swim. Told Papa's story. I let new man know I'm feeling up to it. New man signals to Mama and Papa to get going for a bit. Mama looks at me with ocean. Papa looks at me with beacon. He asks what I remember. Was my father drinking? Did my father ever hit me or my mother? I remember moonshot, Woodstock, Watergate, punk rock. I don't know who what drinks. Mama's clumsy. Anyone will tell you that. I dream. I wake. They move. Planets touch. Too hot to go in the attic. Getting too big to fit under these beds. Mama fixing good meals. One day a storm will come, says Papa. I believe in good.
Holy fucking shit. Like, I know, yeah, no, I mean, your work is always awesome, but holy shit, this one blew me away. And especially the way that first paragraph ends is fucking remarkable in the way that it, like, mirrors the way your brain builds associations, right? Where the association is there before you realize you've made the connection. And it's so good. It's so good. And it's so chilling, right? To go from the slip and slide to Mama's blood, like, oh my God. Like it is legitimately fucking chilling. And it sets the tone for the rest of the piece so well. Also the like snapback moment to Billy Joel at the end when that was really good. It was fucking awesome. It was great. And it seems like everyone in the chat agrees with what I've seen.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for letting me read. That was I should not have read those back to back in retrospect. Two very different voices.
But I mean, that shows range, right? Like your delivery is always spectacular, and to be able to like flip the switch from from the first piece to the second piece is really that's something definitely.
Yeah, I
So
love the
That's awesome.
mood that one sets because I've had similar memories of riding. Like everybody's got those memories of riding in a car. Listening to. I mean, I remember Billy Joel. I remember that album Stormfront when it came out, and the alliteration just fits so perfectly with the thuds and car thud, and the deer thud and all that. That just fits so perfectly together. It's great.
That song was the first time I learned about history. You know what I mean? Like,
Right?
because of my age. Like, I mean, I
Right?
remember hearing all those words and just asking, like, what's Watergate? Like, what's moonshot? Like, I didn't know,
Yeah.
And that's when my dad said, like, well, we never landed on the moon, but like as a thing, like Kubrick,
Yeah. No. That's a huge mood for me. I love the way that sets the scene for everything.
One of my favorite things about your work consistently, Derek, is that you can yes, so we're watching Paw Patrol and want to play Minecraft. So you can tell that the pieces you've read them aloud. They sound well being read, and it's not just your voice. Like, you have a good reading voice, but so often when we write things, I feel like we don't actually think about how they sound out loud. We think about how they read in our internal voice. And that can be way too different, two way different things. And you consistently nail the spoken aspect of the pieces. Like, it's like they were written to be read aloud versus you making them.
thanks, man. I said this before, but Jake came up with thuds and a couple other suggestions that really brought that piece together, because I originally did not have it in such a good child's voice, but I should have had your son read it. That would have been creepy.
that
Derek is
might
just
be
being nice. I want
interesting.
to be clear. I had like zero impact on the piece. It was all there.
I'm imagining the meeting with child services after Jake's son reads that piece on. Okay. All right. Okay. Gabriel's up next. Just
You guys hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Thanks for having me, William. Good to see everyone. I'm going to read an excerpt from a novel in progress. It's done, but Jake brought up a good point. A big reason why I wanted to read this is because I've never read it out loud, and I know how important that is. So it'll be about 10-15 minutes, so get a little comfy. A lot of it's a dialogue between a man and a woman, so just pay attention to when I switch.
Awesome. Take it away.
I'm not sure how to explain it, whether to describe our home as a quaintly nestled or sunken unsightly into the mid-desert mountains. Her and I still live here together, though I use the term loosely, as living requires certain essential elements: fresh air, clean water, a roof over your head, food in the pantry, and ultimately the nourishment of love. Since we have fallen short of all of this, our union has decayed into an intertwined gasping undead, clawing at one another if we get too close, too intimate, wheezing as if we can't even share the oxygen, so we still steal one another's breath, our voice. When we aren't fighting, we go catatonic, our default mode of non-living. On occasion, we are considerate. We each have designated our own windows to gaze out of, at the high altitude desert mountain air that is only difficult to breathe if you overexert yourself. Unfortunately, we have. Now that it's the end of October, we are at the 3-year anniversary of our doomed endurance here. While we feel like we are plummeting, the fall somehow never comes. Just an overstayed, unwelcomed, ever-warming, late summer miasma that has melted all of our Halloween candy into mounds of swirling brown ooze, enveloping its foil packaging into unretrievable folds within a deceptive sugar rush allure. "See, they'll get both a trick and a treat tonight," said Luna. She explained the trick would go right to their fillings, a stinging electric current, its own tiny execution for whatever little brat might come to our door this evening. She told me it was how her dad used to punish her, by making her bite down on Reynolds wrap. "It's different though," she said. "My father actually wanted to hurt me. You and I are just going to pretend like it's a little oopsie accident, unless you want to drive all the way back to the store to get more candy. She had to get her own jab in. She knew I couldn't drive on account of my right fist, wrist, and arm all bandaged up after I punched our living room wall 2 nights ago. Luckily for both of us, she moved just in time. Cheap drywall, but I must have hit a stud because now my whole limb resembles an enormous hot dog that burst in the microwave. Until I could see a doctor, it's nothing a couple of her Vicodins won't help. I take them when she's not looking or when she's too loaded to notice. She gets free refills from the doctor on account of her herniated spine, which has only gotten worse. Now she walks hunched over with a cane. Sad, because she's only 28. She had her whole life ahead of her before she moved into this house with me. Is there anything to eat? I asked, looking through an empty fridge. What do I look like? Some farmer that could just like make food happen? Let me take out my scythe and reap some fucking wheat for you, she snapped. No, it's Halloween. We're probably just going to end up eating all this candy ourselves because you know no kid in their right mind is going to come here tonight. I reached out and touched something, a mini Reese's cup. I assumed the vague traces of protein in the peanut butter center might hold off my hunger until we could figure out real food. But once my thumb and finger applied the slightest pressure, it just squished away from me. It dropped on the floor, signaling one of our infinite roof rats to come out of nowhere, grab it, and ascend back up to our, now their, crawl space. You're actually going to eat candy for dinner, she said, slurring, which ignited my jealousy because what about my mind that wants to be altered? I was half kidding, she said. How many teeth do you have left anyway, like 2? She was wrong. I had a good 10 teeth left, 6 molars and all 4 of my canines. So it looked worse than maybe it was, if you were me. But still sad, because I'm only 32. I had my whole life ahead of me before I moved into this house with her. Maybe we could just nail you to a cross on the front lawn. You could put a piece of this foily candy on each side of your mouth, clench your teeth down so you groan in agony. We could hang a sign on you that says, "Here's what happens when you eat too much candy, kids," she said, not making food happen then either. And the thing is, it wasn't candy that got me this way. Let's just say it's not exactly fun dip I dip into. And let's not say, but whisper, that sometimes I still dip into it when I'm able to visit the neighbors across the dirt road. I can't even explain or even remember exactly why we fight. We spent the last 3 years trying to figure that part out, ever since we moved into this house at the end of the street where no one walks, where the street lights cease, where the only light comes like charity from a moon if it could claw through the haze above us, the clouds that hang over this house only. Is it still a house even when the roof is caving into the bedroom? I would ask the rats, but I think they're frightened of us, the way we scream every night. We're stuck on a loop here, on a hamster wheel, like rats in a maze of our own making. It starts with a benign comment that flickers phantasmagoric, where a blurred, fatigued perception will insist it's an attack. Intimacy only comes when we baptize the silver-tongued bullets in each other's blood, only when we have run out of verbal ammunition. A serial episode that can only end with "to be continued," to be picked up where we left off the night before. We arrive at the center, the heart of the matter, terrified of the very thing that might keep us alive, that might wake us up. Any moment of clarity is worse than fleeting. It's a trap, because then we have to find our way back out of it. If we are fortunate enough to exhaust ourselves to sleep, she still screams, lost to night terrors where she thinks I am her father. But I'm not her father, nor am I even her boyfriend anymore, nor is she my girlfriend. We are each other's caretakers, and now I need some assistance. Do we still have that bottle of vodka? I ask her. I'm in discomfort more from hunger pangs than DTs, but I figure when pain is pain, grain is grain. How would I know? You're the only one that drinks around here. I mean, shit, you drink more than my father, so I guess it's gone. I was onto her. She hid the bottle for me again. Same way she tries hiding her pills from me. But you can't hide anything in a house whose occupants have run out of masks. Do we see each other for who we really are now? What's scarier than seeing a ghost? Seeing that ghost reflected back at you in a pair of terrified eyes. Here we go again. I whip around, determined to finish off this game of hide and seek. She chases me around the house as I tear apart every spot she forgot was so obvious. I throw open her panty drawer, flinging lace and nylon across the room like some perverted ransack. She takes a bra and whips me good across the face, though I'm unfazed as I march into the bathroom. I lift up the top of the toilet tank, smashing it on the ground once I see it's just crud water. She grabs a piece of pointed white porcelain shard, barricading our bedroom with her body as she points it at me. A dare. A struggle ensues before I flail through her. I grab our mattress by the sides, flip it over, nothing, except a steady trickle of blood forming on the box spring. My blood. She got me. I'm sorry, she screamed as if it was another oopsie accident. Please don't think I'm a hurtful person. I'm just a very, very hurt person, she said, as my life dripped steady from the back of my neck. I wiped the sweat from my brow in shock of her flimsy defense. I ran into the bathroom to look into the mirror. I merely traded the sweat for blood on my face, now smeared like psychotic war paint, a devil incarnate. I dissociate, then pull myself back into my body, collecting a strange calm as I approach her. She flinches, holding her hands in front of her face for protection. I wipe my red onto her, like a clean stroke of a paint roller. I'm a hurt person too, I said. As if my other hand was led by demonic clairvoyance, I lift up the lid of her piano bench, where she keeps her chord charts and now where I guess bottles of vodka go. The lid slams shut as I turn the cap with my teeth. I spit it on the floor and take a deep, thirsty pull. Can I pour us each a shot so we can settle down? I'm already settled down, thank you. My funsies just kicked in, she said solemnly, sitting at her piano. When she takes them for pain, she calls them her Vicodin. When she takes them for pleasure, she calls them her funsies. These are my candy tonight, she said. But I indicated no pleasure nor euphoria, no joy from or inside her. Her head went mournfully downcast as her thin, frail fingers began a minor chord intro that sounded more like a coda, as if it was already ending before it really began, just like us. But she continued, an improvised Moonlight Sonata in reverse through a meat grinder of deep, unfinished torment. It was like a slow, cascading scale, occasionally teasing at uplifting before descending right back into its true path. Its softness deceptive. It filled me with fear of what might happen next as she punctuated each resolve with a percussive anger that came from nowhere, just like us. It unnerved me as much as I felt touched, accepting it was a rare moment we might be sharing after all. Only these hands that slit my nape instead of kissed it could play a song this aggressively melancholic. I pour for two regardless, one for me, one for our hungry ghosts attached to our shadows like a ball and chain. Her head whipped to my direction, reanimating from her comatose focus. We should get married, she said. I had just taken the second shot, but my laughter made it go down the wrong hole. A guttural rasp fought to escape my gullet, choking on its confused function as I felt a gurgle of bile emerge. Panicked, I grabbed the bowl of coagulated candy as a stream of vomit filled it to the brim. Well, now we have Halloween soup, I said deadpan, feeling the weight of the bowl threaten to tip it over out of my weakening grasp. Are you going to answer my question? She said. What was the question? I said we should get married. That sounds like a fucking demand, not a question. Well, maybe it is a fucking demand. Where? At a goddamn church? If you or I enter that church, the place will either burn to the ground or will spontaneously combust. Anywhere is better than here. This is fucking hell, she said. She burst into hysteric tears. Her bones seemed to jellify as she fell off her bench onto the floor. Her body curled into a crescent moon, then to fetal. Her fist drew up in front of her face like a boxer or how they find a corpse when it burns to death. I just want to go home, she said, her voice now soft, nearly infantile. Baby, I hate to tell you this, but we are home. I'll end there.
Wow. You have a real mastery of descriptive detail. It's just remarkable how like vividly I could imagine that like really wretched, horrifying space that those two characters were occupying, right? Like the roof rats, the like putrefied bowl of candy, all of it is like so like noxiously vivid. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's a little out of season, I guess, with kind of Halloween, but I guess love like that is kind of universal. Everyone's gone through something.
Yeah, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
Definitely. No, that was fantastic. Thank you so much for reading.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Josh Sherman is up next, I believe. Are you still with us, Josh? Are you still conscious?
Am I? Yeah.
Hey,
Am I
Josh.
now the video? I'm whatever. I'm confused with whatever I've done with the video. I'm showing up now, and you can hear me. Yeah.
Yes, loud and clear.
Am I still conscious? Well, what a dig. That was.
I'm
lovely.
sorry, Josh. I'm sorry. I can't help myself sometimes.
No, I know. I mean, I set myself up. It's so. I wanted to say, first of all, I guess like I have notes here. Oddly, I like the idea of like shit talking a dead author.
hmm
That seemed really good. When Gabriel, I guess you did that, right? Or wait, did Derek do that? Someone,
It was Derek. Yeah.
Derek. Sorry, I had that in there. And then I have a note from Gabriel, but I feel like it was Derek. You can't hide anything in a house whose occupants have run out of masks. That was Gabriel. Yeah. There we go. Really like that. Jesse's earlier on. I gotta say, Jesse, is he still? Is he here even? Does he just?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening.
Yeah. If Kobe hadn't been such a fucking helicopter parent, none of this shit would have happened. But I gotta say, I do like the chess.com shit. I do
Was
log in.
muted? I was muted. You couldn't hear me go, ooh. Yikes. Okay, I'm sorry.
And the chess.com shit is real because I'm actually like, short of being a chess master, I log in all the time. I fuck people up, and after every move, I say shit like, oh, that feels good, doesn't it? Like, I do real fucked up shit. And also, I'm banned from all dating sites, and what you say is correct. I mean, I know this isn't how I'm supposed to interpret art, like, oh, how it relates to me directly. They just, some psycho X sends something, and there's no jury, there's nothing. And if there was a jury, they wouldn't like me anyways. But just saying, the stuff was not only, I mean, I commented before, I liked it, obviously, but it was this time it hit home because you had the chess.com, the Kobe, helicopter parent, and the ban from dating sites. So it was a trifecta.
I'm glad, dude.
No,
Okay.
I mean, I know you don't care. I mean, it was good. No, it was good. Again, I know it's just whatever. I don't care. It's just, it was good art. So I'm going to start with Jellyfish. I'm going to start with one poem that was published by someone else. Other ones I'm working on, which might get me in trouble. So there is a disclaimer I have to read because I have someone following all the stuff I do online, sending it to my employer and whatnot. So any reference to drugs, I don't know, speculative. As William pointed out earlier on, it's speculative fiction. I don't understand. Cocaine, I would love to know what it's like. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. Also, I would like to dedicate this reading to the Toronto Police Service, who were very kind to me in pursuing charges that were thrown out later instantly. So shout out to them and Detective Constable. I won't name her. It's just, anyways.
The transcript of this should be your bio in everything you publish from now on, by the way.
If you guys don't read Eve Babbitt's, you should, because her introduction is actually kind of like this, but more coherent. So, first poem, which someone did publish. Jellyfish. Sorry I couldn't stay any longer. Had to remove any sign, though I had been there. That a misplaced can might upset you. I didn't want a misplaced can to upset you. So I collected all the cans that might upset you and straightened all the chairs and arranged them to make sure everything was on straight angles. I find comfort in 90 degrees and straight lines. Because after a hurricane, you clean up, you emerge from a wood plank place and you set forth to collect the debris. A chair wedged in the sand, a refrigerator in the ditch. But watch out for the jellyfish thrown from the ocean by a cyclone that traced an arbitrary path like the one that led to you. And the cocaine in Toronto. If it looks like cocaine and it smells like cocaine, it's still probably not cocaine. MC Escher. This one's new. I don't think it's very good, but I'll go down on you in Hawaii and jump off volcanoes with Rubik's Cubes, never quite figuring it out. I'll rewrite the Moonlight Sonata using only one note and compose a eulogy for myself. And then chemistry. Chemistry. I remember the breeze in your living room, the Italian leather, the blue light. I remember Gary Newman on your stereo, the proto-techno, the cocaine maximalism, your chihuahua. There were summer afternoons like that, walks down the street. It seemed so domestic. This is what people do together. Anything done often enough becomes routine. They say it takes 21 days to form a habit, and we had our own. But, you know, I still can't make sense of it. What happened? I know we were too similar, but is that enough to explain this? If two people are so flawed, so bent on destruction, shouldn't that bring them together somehow? Isn't that chemistry? I failed that class in grade 11. And then Mr. Clean. Mr. Clean. I have strict conditions for cleaning my apartment. Whenever I'm wiping down a counter or something, I think, would I do cocaine off this surface? If the answer is no, I keep cleaning. It's an unexpected benefit of my addiction. And that's it.
That was great as always, Josh. I love how, listening to your poetry, I love how they often almost end with punchlines. You know, and I know a lot of poems are structured to really make the last line hit hard, but you almost subvert that in yours because the last line is often like the saddest, most hilarious line as opposed to like the most poignant one or whatever. And I think it really, really makes them doubly like funny and effective.
Thanks a lot. Yeah.
When are you going to put out a collection, man? Like, you've got to be.
Thank you for saying that, because I really like your work as well. And I've
just answer the question. I don't understand the stalling. You know what I mean? The changing of subjects, like between my work. You know, it's not about me.
Well,
I'm asking you.
Okay, well, I'll earnestly say I've tried a few places, and so I don't know. Back Patio, Kevin always seems to be happy to have my stuff. Manny has been really supportive. I haven't tried submitting to 1111.
Manny's dead, so we're down to Kevin. Manny died.
I'm the new man.
He died in a New York basement.
Well, I guess long answer short is that I've actually tried sending it to places that I thought might have. It's evolving, and I don't know. I am trying, basically. I'm trying. So if anybody has anybody that they would recommend I would send stuff to who likes the stuff, I am trying, and I think I have enough. But yeah, I have the same question, but I have to be not entitled sounding. But I want the collection out there, and it exists. So any publishers who are interested, it is there.
Good to know. No, I really do. No, I really do. I love your work. We've published some of your work, and I do really hope to see it in print.
Hey, William, what about a little print thing with you? You know,
we have never done, aside from
the first
self-published. Rudy and I self-published a collection of role-playing games at one point years and years ago, but we've actually never done any kind of a print collection or anything at Misery Tourism. Yeah. It's kind of out, honestly, putting shit in print is a huge pain in the ass, and it's a little bit outside of what Rudy and I are familiar and comfortable with. I'm not saying it will never happen, because I've had people ask about that in the past, especially about like us maybe doing like some kind of like best of Misery Tourism, like compilation or something. But right now, all I can say is like, it's not in active development.
Sorry, did I just get drunk and like try and get William to publish my shit in print, like online? recording.
But honestly, I don't know. Like, it's something I've always kind of thought about and fantasized about is like having like
My
there'd be a
poetry
print
in
component
Brandon
to
Oakland
Misery
under your
Tourism.
publishing house.
But there are so many people who do it so much better than we ever could, like Manny, that I don't really. I feel like he's publishing a lot of the same authors we are, so I feel it's more complimentary that way. Not to say it'll never happen, just to say.
Do you think now that I have like had charges against me that I'm more likely to get published under expat?
No, absolutely no comment. No fucking comment. Next, Brandon.
Like, that's a bad joke.
Oh boy.
Okay, Brandon, you're up next, and you're going to read a poem you've been working on for a little
Yeah, a little poetry tonight. Something a little different. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. I'd like to encourage everybody to get a toast ready, whether it's a drink or something else that relaxes you. Josh, maybe you might want to step back to something a little weaker.
A toast with like League of Legends, or
I would not recommend that. This is a happy toast.
oh, I got you. We're social drinking.
Social. All right. Calling this piece Drinking with My Demons.
This is sorry, I'm just tweeting about it. This is the continuation of the poem that you kind of started on Twitter.
Correct.
Okay, I didn't want to link to the wrong thing. Sorry, man.
Oh, it's all good.
yours.
Liquor is a medicine, down a shot and up again. Whiskey is my stimulant, gin to level out the bullshit. Rum is my depressant, tequila Russian roulette. Absinthe for the wild nights, single malt to relax. Bourbon to fire up a fight, stout is just a reflex. Life left me with my demons, alone to walk the astral, and alone to watch the reruns beneath the shadow of the kestrel. This was part of the journey, I calmly told myself, not to wind up on the gurney, not to lay up on the shelf. But instead I found I dwelt upon the memory of what once was, the ego, id, and other one, wounded by the just because. Each drink I poured burned like the regrets and the thoughts, and days and weeks just turned, marked by single and double shots. Each bottle tip and cap return in this world had an astral equal. In meditation faced the worm, unending battle sequel. Each shot a punch and drink a grapple, as I struggled to control a hunch that the fight itself was the demon's poisoned apple. I had to separate myself from everything of the light, if I was going to right the delve from every drunken night. I wrestled with my demons for weeks and weeks on end. The sorrow only deepens, the more that I'd pretend. But I knew something they didn't know as we collapsed on each other's arms, that I could forsake the sideshow without raising any alarms. Locked eye to eye with grief, and breathing heavy with the strain, left with only resolve and belief that I was stronger than the pain. Both brought to a knee and smiling rictus grins, my demons and I both could see that neither of us wins. So we settle on the detente and delay further corruption, and simply enjoy the ambiance of our mutual self-destruction.
Toast. With my cup of water. No,
Cheers.
that was a lot of fun. I love the like nursery rhyme cadence to that.
Thank you.
I think there's something like about a really dark piece that adopts that kind of like cadence. Like I'm thinking of like Sylvia Plath's Daddy, right? Where it's like one of the darkest poems I've ever fucking read, and it's got nursery rhyme scheme, right? And that somehow like the tension between those two things like makes it more effective. So yeah, that was a lot of fun and great delivery as usual, man.
Yeah, that
Thank
was
you.
awesome.
Thank you.
Is that what were your inspirations for that?
I have been listening to a lot of Aesop Rock lately,
Nice.
and his lyrical style with that constant rhyme scheme is just awesome.
Yeah, the first and second verses definitely hit that pretty perfect.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Shit, you caught me sneaking away to refill my water. Okay, now Rudy has a game that he wants to demo. And I think that'll definitely be a lot of fun, but I think it also might take up, like, I'm not sure how much time it will take, and I'm not sure how, like, potentially, like, the technical side of things, we tested it yesterday, but just because it might get a little messy, I think I'm going to do the open mic now, and then we'll end with Rudy's thing. I also have a piece I published today, and I might read that at some point tonight, but I do want to give anyone who's here who's not on the docket a chance to read if they'd like. Oh, Daniel. Yeah, Daniel.
Hi. Good to be here, everybody. I'm going to read two short pieces, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
This first one, I don't usually go into like elaborate explanations of what I read, but this poem or this piece is dedicated to Theo Jansen. I don't know if some of you probably know him. He's like a Dutch artist who makes these crazy kinetic sculptures that are like made out of PVC and like plastic shit and tubes and like, you know, cut off bottles and stuff, and they're powered by air. And I learned that he has like a studio by the beach or something like that. And that's where he builds these huge kinetic sculptures. And like when he's done with them, or, you know, he like builds one that he doesn't like, he puts it out to the beach. He just sticks it there. And he calls it the boneyard, the place where all these old weird contraptions that he built kind of like, you know, spend out their days walking along the beach. So this piece is dedicated to him, and it's called The Contraption, or The Beast in the Boneyard. It looked like it had been pulled half finished out of a dream, monstrous and stripped of flesh. It was almost gleaming in the early morning sun. With nothing to pick at, we soon began exploring its extremities. After trying for several hours to elicit some sort of response unsuccessfully, I slumped down beside it and watched the tide slowly come in. What the hell does it do? I asked the air. Our companion simply looked at us with a blank stare. When we boarded the ferry to take us here, it was packed. But little by little, people must have gotten off. We didn't realize it until we were the only two passengers left. When we reached the island, there was nothing else to do but disembark. But once we did, the ship disappeared. Once we'd learned to work the bellows, the contraption kept quite a comfortable pace. We decided to pass all of the subsequent days alongside it, walking amidst the tattered remains of cephalopods washed up dead along the shore. It kept the flies off, walking did. We blowed a little more each day beneath the vicious rays of the sun. We haven't ceased since we began this journey. The few seabirds that remain light upon the contraption infrequently, doing so only momentarily before being scared into the air again as it wheezes forward into life. There's a certain rhythm to its movements one finds quite pleasing. And the rocks in this locale are relatively soft underfoot. It has been an eternity, and at this juncture, the glinting of our bones serves as a signal flare into the ether. By now, all our flesh has nearly rotten and fallen off. There are quite a few more birds that follow us as well. Some large amount of time passes, and we notice in the distance what appears to be a small biplane. We see it as it periodically blocks out the sunlight. It passes between the bones of the contraption, and it takes us a moment to realize it's not the shadow of the plane in the distance, but the plane itself. It's a miniature biplane, 2 people in a 2-seater. We watch it exit the contraption and putter a few hundred meters down the shore. As we run to catch up to it, I realize the people inside must be completely terrified. All right. And this one is called Exploring Infestation as Art Through Organic Decay. My partner began their creative writing process through practiced bone divination, the ribs and other parts forming a latticework of scales, resonating with each season's touch. I was focused on exploring infestation as art through organic decay. It wasn't long before we realized that we weren't at the foot of the mountain anymore. The level windblown prairie that surrounded us was actually that of the widest brim of the largest hat we'd ever seen. We spent a moment in quiet contemplation and awe, then I sighed, loosening the straps of my travel lab and plopping down into the sand and muck. With the fading light, it's useless traveling any further, I said, hat or not. This seems all right, no? To stop here, I mean. Without waiting for a reply, I reached amidst the various spore cultures contained in my travel lab until I found a slug. I chewed it for a moment, holding it in the pocket of my cheek, then spit it out on the dusty, sandy, mucky ground as it inflated. Take your shoes off this time, all right? I asked my partner before climbing in. They were still outside, entranced by the colors cast from the bones upon the landscape, which produced something like red bioluminescent flashes that would illuminate everything nearby. It made me think of a pulsar made of blood. We'd been traveling for what seemed like eternity, and everything was dust covered at this point. The dust being little cosmic bits of detritus, the skin of giants, who knows what else. It's just before dawn, I think. I'm awake because at some point I realized my partner isn't in the slug, and it had stopped moving. After a time, you grow accustomed to feeling them slide over the uneven, rocky terrain at night. It becomes something you miss when it's not there. I exit and ask, "What are you doing?" Our partner has a chassis bolted around their waist and is wearing the oversized boots made for odd jobs. They're so large, they're crushing everything in their path. We're supposed to be studying that, you know. Studying what? They say, frustrated at the slug's indifference. That, I point behind us to the path they've crushed through the scrub and organic refuse. That, I shout again, the glop. You stay here and study glop all you want. I'm getting to the top of that mountain today, even if it kills me. Hat, I shout, it's a hat. They glare and stomp their boots hard down into the glop. There's a squeaking noise and something splatters onto the side of the slug. They pull out the reduction salt, sprinkle it gently atop its head, and it dries away, up and out of sight. How many slugs do we have left anyways? My satchel's full of them, I lie. That was the last one. Did we load everything up into the stream already? I ask them. They simply nod. I look down at my feet at the water running over my boots, and then it recedes, joining the rest of the stream that cuts through the prairie alongside us, tracing an unsure path through the brush as we ourselves did. Then it snaps up like a whip into the air and disappears with all the data we've collected thus far. A pair of giant fingers suddenly blot out the sun. This is as far as we go, I guess, I shout as we're brushed off the brim of the hat and into the air. Ciao, they yell. See you Monday. We're now free to spend the weekend in whichever manner we please. That's it. Thanks.
That was fantastic. I love how your pieces like bring the reader or the listener to like the very like edge of reality. Like it's just the like real like fantastical sort of landscape you created in that last piece. It was really, I don't know, it was like transporting, right? It was wonderful. I really, really enjoyed it.
Thanks.
So I think I saw in the chat Griffin has a piece. You with us, Griffin?
Yes,
Awesome.
I am.
Cool. The floor is all
This
yours.
is from going to be in an upcoming zine. Let me get the link in case anybody wants to follow along.
Oh, this is a Google Doc. Okay, I won't share the link on Twitter then since
Yeah.
it's about to be published. Okay, I'll kind of link to you and that'll be it. Okay.
That's
Yeah.
good. Okay. It's pouring rain, half a dozen blocks from the train station to her apartment. Umbrella's back at the office, sitting in the corner behind her desk, right where she put it this morning. Didn't realize until the subway was in motion. Huddled under an awning for the moment, hoping that it'll let up just a little. Her weather app lets her know otherwise when she pings it, a little anthropomorphic storm cloud in a bow tie, smiling cheerily in her peripheral vision. She hates all the smug mascots in this one, but the choose to for weather apps is tasteful, ad-free, and accurate. She's kept the algorithm at bay for years. One of her friends just feeds it junk data, random walk programs constantly surfing the web in the background. All his ads are in Hungarian, mainly for marriage counselors and veterinary schools. She prefers the old-fashioned, low-footprint approach. It'll take a few hours for the rain to calm down, Mr. Thunderhead whispers. Time to find somewhere to wait it out. Can't set foot in the coffee shop from Seattle without giving too much information to the algorithm. Same with the Scottish restaurant. Names have power, brand names doubly so. Even thinking about the mermaid or the clown might give them a foothold. The Chinese buffet closed down during last year's quarantine cycle, a damn shame, and their competitor across the way is takeout only. No local coffee places, no restaurants without ties to venomous corporate egregors, no shitty dive bars, but no, there's one just down the block. She's never been in, never seen it open, but from her little dry spot, she can see the glow from the window. It's worth a shot. She jogs the half block down, thinking about that episode of Mythbusters where they showed that running gets you wetter, a bigger target for the raindrops. Coming down hard enough that she'll be soaked either way. At least her backpack is waterproof. Nano Gore-Tex from REI, bought for the whitewater kayaking trip one of her exes insisted they go on. It's a good backpack. It's got all her notes in it. Hard copy to keep her bosses from seeing that she's working on personal projects during company time. Pen and paper, 20th century vibes. She types them up every night on the air-gapped laptop in her Faraday closet. Turns off all her implants before opening the door. She feels like a paranoid, but it's not paranoia if they're really out to get you. No awning in front of the bar, so she ducks right inside. Shakes off in the entryway as best she can. Dripping all over the welcome mat. No bouncer, no security camera, no coat check. She takes her jacket off, wrings it out. Backpack's bone dry already, hydrophobic. There's something posted on the inside door, laminated 8.5 by 11, 24-point Arial bold, code of conduct. Someone's drawn a dick in the corner in red Sharpie. Someone else wrote, for apotropaic purposes next to it in black, added wings. Higher class of vandal. Rules are simple. No cops, no fash, no fighting, no whining. Her kind of place. She steps inside and her implant goes dark, just like in the paranoia closet. Whole bar's Faraday. Probably got a jammer too. Her implant's not talking to her laptop anymore. She switches it off. Not even the usual peripheral clock, like being naked in public. It's crowded already. Probably a few thunderstorm refugees like yourself, but some others look like they came here straight from work on purpose. The countercultural uniform on display, Milsert boots and leather jackets, plenty of chrome. She stands out in her corporate drone drag. Have to come here again in civvies if she winds up liking the vibe. She still needs a regular bar. She had one in her old neighborhood down by the bay, but that's a half hour by bus now, and anyway, her most recent ex-girlfriend still goes there. Bad blood. Mostly her fault in retrospect. Communication issues and incompatible habits and refusal to change. Same shit every time, and every time she says the next one will be different. She pushes her way to the bar. Nice selection of beers, local microbrews mostly. Some imports at the marked up prices everyone got used to after the city seceded. Cash only, of course. Nobody's bank chip is going to work in a Faraday box. She gets a shot of cheap whiskey and a High Life and tips well. Got to get in the bartender's good books. He's a cute twink with an unfortunate mustache and a custom left hand. Clear plastic shell with black rubber grips, every motor and joint on display. She used to have something similar on the side of her face that got blown off by the Dominionist truck bomb in '35. Clear skin, yielding like flesh, but totally see-through, revealing the sensors and wires below, and beneath that, the exposed bone, gold glue in the cracks like a kintsugi pot, embracing her scars. Just faux flesh now. Wabi Sabi has been demoted to retro. The shot goes down smoother than anticipated. Almost doesn't need the chaser. Better than the usual bottom shelf well whiskey. She takes another sip and scans the room. Avoids eye contact. Nobody she recognizes, but that's fine. Posters on the walls. Mid-30s secessionist propaganda, early 20s green soak ditto. Metal bands with illegible names and liquor ads from 50 years ago. Reminds her of college. She probably had some of these in her dorm room. Friends of hers definitely did. Finally notices the music when the track changes. Jazzcore, growling scat vocals and improvised guitar licks. Not bad, but not her favorite. Not enough bass. She can't figure out what band it is. Thinks too hard and breaks her no eye contact streak. A tall Andergine in a boycott Quebec shirt meets her gaze. Z smiles, picks her drink up, heads over. She panics, briefly, but returns the smile. Too long since honest interpersonal contact with a stranger. Hey there, Z says, leaning against the bar, just out of her personal space. I've never seen you around here. Nictitating membranes flicker sideways across your eyes. The smile doesn't reach them. Twitches of attention to her sides, belt, ankles. Z seems disappointed to not see any weapons. Taser in the Gore-Tex, Mega Passe Razor Gull nail blades in her left hand, their Dan Krav Maga black belt. What do they call you, friend? 10 years ago, it would have been a secessionist shibboleth. Now it's almost embarrassing. Fits the vibe of the place, the posters in the crowd, watering hole for those few committed leftists who didn't leave for Cascadia when the corporatist faction made the free city into the greatest tax shelter this side of the Pacific. Not that she's not one of those, but she joined them when she couldn't beat them. She knows the right response. They don't call me friend, but you can. Another entry for her personal cringe compilation. She's already reconsidering coming back. The Androgyne is frowning. She must have shown her true feelings. Never a good idea. Sorry, it's been a while. There's no good way to explain to a stranger that you sold out and now find all your youthful revolutionary principles kind of embarrassing. I sold out, and now I find all my youthful revolutionary principles kind of embarrassing. Well, really the rhetoric more than the principles. She thinks for a second. And the aesthetic, I mean, okay, I like leather pants and big stompy boots as much as the next dyke. The exposed chrome just isn't for me anymore. It really has been too long since she talked to a stranger. Filter machine broke. At some point, she's going to figure out how to undarmok her brain. Normal people don't think exclusively in memes from high school. Sorry, I'm dumping. I don't even know your name. Z grins. Maybe she didn't fuck this interaction up that badly after all. I go by Alana, but you can call me Al. Elizabeth, Liz, and you can't call me Betty. A raised eyebrow. No? Damn. A great joke wasted. She hasn't used that name in years, and now she's stuck with it. So, what do you do? Already regretting the question. So fucking corporate. She's on the wrong small talk script entirely. Most of the people here probably have day jobs that are semi-legal at best. Alana takes it in stride, thankfully. Oh, you know, I'm freelance. Courier work mostly. Could be pizza delivery. Could be gun running. Hell, it might even be both. Back in the day, the Panucci brothers would throw in a free calzone with every Kalashnikov. How about you? Wait, hold on. I want to guess. Z gives her another once-over. Not looking for weapons this time. Shoes, watch, jewelry, tie. Not management, not muscle. Too comfortable without net access to be a programmer, too much tech in you to be digital security. Couldn't argue with that. She used to know a data security guy with an honest-to-God wooden leg. Nothing in his apartment more complex than a toaster oven. I'm going to go with accountant, lawyer, or some sort of esoteric corporate witch doctor whose job description I can't even comprehend. Witch doctor is right, she sighs. Here it comes. I'm a magician. No laughter. Alana looks intrigued, a little confused. Maybe he thinks it's some kind of corporate slang. Well, my title is actually Senior Metaphysical Consultant or something like that. They renamed everything recently, one of those ISO certification things, but I'm a witch. She wiggles her fingers vaguely in Al's direction. Abracadabra. Awkward silence descends. Huh. Al lifts it briefly, and then it returns in force. At least he's not laughing. I didn't expect the corpse to be in the occult, but I guess that makes sense. So are you like a Wiccan or something? She can feel her face contort into a grimace. Nothing she can do to stop it. Whoa, okay, not a Wiccan, Al says, chuckling. Sorry, I don't really know a lot about this kind of thing. Like, I know my zodiac sign and I got a tarot reading at a party once, but other than that, he trails off. Not the worst reaction she's ever gotten. At least he isn't accusing her of being an agent of Satan, either because she does magic or because she works for one of the big seven downtown. It's about 50-50. Yeah, most people don't. She shrugs. No, not a Wiccan, more of a post-chaos paradigm, pneumogrammatics, and digital Vodon. It's hard to explain. She looks away, glances through the back door just as someone comes in from the alley. Rain slowed down, just a drizzle now. Mr. Thunderhead is a liar. And most of it is NDA'd. I don't think they could hear me here, but you never know. One last sip empties her bottle. Alana nods at it. Want another? A crossroads. She ponders the question for a moment. Yeah, sure. Why not? Alana waves over the twink, gets a fresh pair of beers. Doesn't ask them to pay. She raises an eyebrow. Perks of being a regular? Something like that. As he takes a swig, licks your lips. Forked tongue. Not bifurcated, the classic body mod gimmick. It's biohacked in there. So you can probably smell with it. So, corporate sorcery. Huh. How'd you end up in that line of work? That's a good question. One she doesn't want to answer. Alana can sense her reluctance. Hey, no worries. This is a past-free zone if you want it to be. I'm just curious. It's cool, you know? Unique. She's edged closer, slowly enough that she didn't notice until now. Fine, she doesn't mind. Still thinking about the tongue. I was in the militia. She doesn't need to specify. They've already done the secessionist song and dance. Joined after, easier to show than tell. She feels around her chin until she finds the seam, peels her face up, showing off the kintsugi cracks. Dolores Park, 35, Dominionist from Jefferson. Got fixed up, learned to shoot, patrolled the highways for a while. Fond memories of her Toyota Technical. She rode shotgun on comms, kind of a third wheel at first. The driver and gunner were happily married and prone to PDA, but it turned into a tricycle situation after a couple months. They kept inviting her over to dinner, drinking that menage a trois wine. She took the hint eventually. And then we kicked out the feds for good, and then, you know, she gestures vaguely downtown towards the skyscrapers and the nascent arcologies, monuments to the failure of their utopian dream. The fucker stole it. Alana's eyes are locked on her chin. She smooths the seam back down, self-conscious reflex. The fucker stole it, she echoes. The corporatist outmaneuvers the leftists, and by the time the dust settled, they were too entrenched. But, you know, I knew some of those fuckers. I was friends with them. She slept in the same bed as them, wore a ring that matched theirs, was seriously discussing IVF clinics and baby names. So I stuck around, and, you know, I had my militia pension. We still got those for a while, but I was going stir crazy. I needed something to do, and one of my... She stops herself before she can say one of my wives. It'll only lead to questions that she doesn't want to answer. One of my friends knew I was into the occult, and her bosses were planning an experimental program, and the rest is history. She doesn't mention the 2 assassination attempts, the miscarriage, or the world's messiest breakup. She's still in love with both of them, but together, not individually, and they hate each other now. Alana's been silent, doing her best not to pry into what's gone unspoken. Networking. Classique. Breaks the tension perfectly, and they're both grinning like idiots. So, can I get you a refill? She hadn't even noticed she was empty. Another decision. Al isn't making it easy. She's gotten closer. She can feel her body heat, smells her cologne, wood smoke, and vanilla. Thinking about the tongue again. She takes too long. You good in there? A casual touch to her elbow, checking in. I would love to. She's not lying. She wants nothing more than to have another beer, slide closer until their thighs are touching, until that hand on her elbow doesn't leave. She can find out how that biohack tongue feels in her mouth and elsewhere. But, fuck, I'm sorry. I just can't. Dredged up too much shit. Now she's in bad headspace. She leaves her empty on the bar, Gore-Tex back on her shoulders. Nice meeting you, Al. Nice meeting you, not Betty. If he's shocked by her sudden departures, he doesn't show it. Maybe I'll see you again sometime. I hope so. Over her shoulder as she leaves. Nice and cool outside. She hadn't realized how hot the bar was. Wet leaves on the sidewalk, sticking to her sensible shoes. Raindrops caught in headlights. She turns towards home. Keeps her implants off, enjoying the night. Water drips from her hair, traces the faint seam between fake and real flesh just left of her nose. All is two sets of sensations on the boundaries, her face, her elbow, her ankle, a reminder that she's not all there. She'll pop it off when she gets home, leave her eye on its charger, soak her skin in soap and water. Maybe she'll leave it off for a while, dig out her old face from the back of the closet, come back to the bar and full militia cheek, de-invent her corporate self, become Liz again. She won't, though the thought will stick around. And when her extracurricular activities are discovered, it's Alana who smuggles her up to Portland to avoid downsizing with extreme prejudice. The world is far too small.
That was great. That was awesome. The world building in that is so good.
Hell
I,
yeah.
I love, like, great world building is always about the, like, little peripheral details that are just there for a moment and then they're gone. And, like, the boycott Quebec moment, it's like there's a whole fucking story there, and I want to know that, you know, like, those little
I
things.
actually stole that
The story,
from
yeah.
another friend of mine.
The story
But,
is that
yeah.
we both know an extremely insufferable person who wants to boycott Quebec.
Really fucking annoying friend of ours, but it's a good line.
It's great. Yeah, all the little details there make it so much richer, you know?
The kintsugi thing is still one of my favorite descriptions of like cyborgs in all fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love the way it's the kind of noir or cyberpunk setup of like two people in a bar, but it goes into all like the social and like all their feelings and stuff in a way that flows together with the world building and the aspects of that. And it just the boycott Quebec thing was great, but I really love the stuff about like the militias and like how they're kind of intertwined, like how everything is intertwined with like their feelings kind of about each other, but at the same time it's like the society too is like, you know, you can kind of feel, you get a feeling for the society by the way they're acting towards each other basically, and that is awesome. I love that. That to me is like the best type of world building.
Yeah, thank you so much for reading, Griffin.
Yeah, and the zine is coming on this website at some point when we get it figured out.
Oh, awesome. If anyone's watching this on
I got concerned
YouTube,
that I was on video, but then I realized I wasn't. Sorry.
if anyone's watching this on YouTube after the fact, that's young.zone, YONG.ZON.
YONQ.
It's YONQ. It's a Q. Yonk.
Oh, Yonk. I'm sorry. I read so it's YONQ.ZONE.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
Don't worry, we take the mistake as a badge of honor.
And I'm anxious to see the rest of the stuff that's included in the zine. I'll definitely shoot me a DM when it comes out, and I'll signal Bruce.
Yeah, I'll shoot you a DM when we publish it.
I'm really looking forward to some of the stuff in that zine. 12 Cowboys in San Francisco is going to be a bitch. It's going to be a banger.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I definitely want to check out more of that. That's really cool.
So, do we have anyone else who wants to read tonight? And I'm going to let that question linger for a second because I have to run to the bathroom really badly. So I'll be back in like a couple minutes. If anyone wants to read, let Rudy know or put it down in the chat, and I will be right back.
That's what the sweet tea does to you.
Oh, it always surprises me when he makes it as long as he does.
No, it's the sweet tea. He says it's water. I don't believe it. He's an American. He's drinking something super sugar and
He knows.
Should I
No, he
volunteer
knows
to read?
better. That would keep him up all night.
I like how there was a little bit of an intervention for me tonight, though. That was nice. That was good.
Happy to do my part.
You know.
I'm doing my part.
Just looking out for one another.
That always feels good.
I was honestly like, the thing with the comments is, I feel like some of the comments were about my thing, and I can't tell where they began and where they left. It starts with like, they actually call them constables in Canada. And I think I see this.
Just when you go through, all the good ones are about yours.
Oh.
That's what I do.
Yes, I know. I should. You know what? That was honestly one of the finest tweets I've read. You know, as a tweet connoisseur, I you know, I'm a gourmand. I appreciate the finest tweets. Limited editions. Yeah, that's what they are. That's what they are. And people who don't get it don't. And anyways, where is Dave though? Where is Dave?
I knew you'd appreciate it just because of the Hot Wheels cars, you know.
You know what? I would say that Jake is one of the biggest followers of my Dinky Car Instagram account. At Big Dinky Energy, I would say, if you're looking for an account that earnestly, and your children probably love it too.
No, I don't. That's just for me. I'm the car person.
Oh, show them.
Is this on Twitter too, or is it just Instagram?
It's just Instagram. It's just a purely earnest endeavor of mine.
Awesome.
To try and not be insane.
It's like part of the new sincerity movement, I think.
No, it's not.
Nice.
It's actually not part of that because I'm trying to use it for a new short story. So quit fucking this shit up for me, Jake.
Sorry, man. Sorry. I mean, let's me put it this way. I follow on Instagram. I follow a rapper named Mike Terror, who I've loved for years and no one knows about. I follow Expat and Josh's car page. So
this is big flattering, and but I just don't want to be. I don't because you know the Rogan Buck. As you know, Rogan Buck turned out to be kind of a pedophile, and he was also tied in with the new sincerity thing. I want my Big Dinky, Big Dinky energy can't be associated with any of that pedophilic stuff. It's an earnest.
I picked an interesting moment to come back.
It's an earnest, non-sexual account in which you'll find artistic shots of cars in 1/64 scale.
Nice, very nice.
Your description makes that sound so much more sinister.
But Jake, again, one of my biggest supporters. So it's honestly because the short story, and this is the thing, I've actually had trouble. I won the award of being like one of the most important cyber writers of 2020, and it wasn't Jake. Somebody else wrote the write-up. I forget who.
I think it was Derek.
It was a Manny. You want a Manny. That's what we call him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
You wrote it, but you wrote that there were 3 stories, and there are, but not all 3 have been published. The 3rd depends on Misery Tourism. It has not been sent.
Oh, it hasn't been. I was going to say, oh shit.
Oh yeah.
It hasn't been sitting in our inbox for 2 months.
That's what it depends on. But it was an honor. I sent it to my mom. I think I tweeted about it too. But she was honestly like, she called me and she was like, "Oh my god, like you were on that list. Like congratulations." And it meant a lot.
Derek, you may have made Josh's mom cry.
It meant a lot. It meant a lot to her and me, but also her.
Okay, we're definitely gonna have plenty of time after we're done here, but I do want to get. Did anyone else, Rudy, say they wanted to read?
I believe ARD is in for a reading.
Okay, ARD. It's.
But I think ARD has left for they said
Oh
back in
shit!
5
People
minutes.
were waiting for this dumb bullshit. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
No, the
I was
person's
in the
away
bathroom, so
right now.
we,
So
um,
I think that's the only person who wants to read.
Maybe he is also in the bathroom at the moment or something.
oh, okay. We
Yeah,
we
yeah.
wait a couple minutes. So if that's if is there anyone else here now who would like to read?
Well, can I read one thing from the manuscript that nobody wants to publish?
Sure, Josh. Sure. Yes.
Absolutely.
So you can read that, and then ARD can go. Does anyone else want to read? I'm just kind of trying to figure out what the rest of the night will look like really quick here. Okay. So you can go quick, Josh, then ARD. Then I think I'll read the little excerpt from the work in project disaster I'm working on, and then we'll end with playtesting Rudy's game, because I want to give him like the time and space he needs to do that.
Sure.
Okay, so Josh, it's yours again.
Yeah. So this is from the collection that nobody has been interested in publishing yet, but I'm sure they will. I'm sure someone will come along who will be like, yes, this is the exact book we want to publish. We stand behind everything. So it's called What If Your Addiction Isn't Art? So what if your addiction isn't art? Scan the symptoms of cocaine abuse like it was a menu. Saw trouble swallowing and was like, yeah, there are worse ones, death mostly, or heart-related stuff. And just realized that I'm potentially in an abusive relationship with myself. Then wondered if there is some asylum where they won't let me see myself. At least not without advance notice or a doctor's note, and visits be limited.
Ooh. I'm back.
Just in time.
Welcome back. Did you just finish, Josh?
Oh, nobody noticed? Yeah, that was
No,
that.
I wasn't sure. It was his return coincided so perfectly with the end of your poem.
No, of course it was yeah. It's that kind of poem. It's just
man. I feel like I missed a good poem. I feel like I missed something really good.
No, you missed something that nobody liked. So
No, it was Josh. As usual, I love your work, Josh. You know that. It was
you did publish it, and that's the only reason I believe you.
Exactly. See, exactly. Okay. ARD, it's you had a piece you wanted to read.
Yeah, I did. Griffin encouraged me to share it.
Cool.
Yes, I've linked it. So I linked it in the chat. So I will start whenever y'all are ready.
Oh, okay. Do you want me to share this on Twitter or not? I see it's a Google Doc, so maybe it's not.
Oh, yeah, it's just what's it called? It's just a published piece. Or sorry, it's not a published piece yet. It's like I
working project.
Yeah, it's a working project. Sorry.
I'm tongue-tied too right now.
I assumed that Griffin had shared a link to their work earlier.
Yes. Yeah.
It's also going in the zine.
It's another zine.
No reason for everyone to check out the zine when it goes up.
Exactly.
Okay, sorry to interrupt. It's all yours now.
No problem. Okay, so my piece is called Vivi Seduction, or Oni San Francisco. I'll start. The government funded my addiction to Guro, among other things. They also paid for my aluminum face, razored hands, thermonuclear heart. I can keep going. They paid for every square inch of my vulcanized veins and plastic guts. The list is bigger than me. But they kept my brain, paid a special amount to keep it, and irradiate it with spunk and blood. Orbital drop shock troopers lost the culture war a long time ago. What is your mission, soldier? Sir, jump from a starship in orbit, parachute not included, obliterate the crash site, then butcher the survivors. But we're not on the battlefield. This is a bookstore. Clark asks what books I like. Iro Guro Nonsensu is not an acceptable answer, and I don't know what is. Romance? I don't know how to talk to girls. I signed those rights away on a dotted line. Married my body to artificial Amazonian androgyny. Sold my brain for bukkake into service-guaranteed sensuousness. Full metal femboy seeks fatherland figure. Cup my chin, cook for me, fuck me, bolt and slaughter me. Marry or serenade, protege or prey. I don't care, either way. Make a man out of me. Action? I can't say that to a human woman. She'll shoot me where I stand. And then the government will have to say they got a cyborg addicted to snuff hentai. That would be a fucking embarrassment and fitting death for someone who gets off on being someone's dog. More likely they'll say I malfunctioned, just like in the movies. Snuff machine, the future of robo-futurismo machismo, putting the star in Starship Trooper. Horror? Every morning I wake up and open palm slam a chip full of Guro into my head. Spit roasts and spatchcocks, how to disembowel a boy my age. Love him while I do. Can't love him the right way. I was born the wrong way. You'd hate me for it, so I hate you first and save us both the trouble. Born evil, die evil. I don't get paid enough for this. The slack-jawed cyborg is cute, sure. I can tell we even have the same hobbies, but I wouldn't save Yukio Machinima if I could. Gotta convince him to see the Golden Gates and leave the long way down. Do the whole world wonders. Hey, robot boy, what's your zodiac sign? Finn.
Oh my God, that was wonderful. I've gone from being really eager to read your zine to being openly envious of your zine.
Hell yeah.
Some of those lines blew me the fuck away. Orbital Drop Shock Troopers lost the culture war a long time ago. That killed me.
I've said this before, like multiple times, but Yukio Machinima fucking kills me every time.
My friend keeps being flabbergasted by how this is the worst year of Yukio Mishima.
No, that was amazing. Sorry, I think Rudy had something to say.
That was really good. I love the evisceration of Heinlein in little bits and pieces there. Like the service guaranteed sensuousness. Excellent line. And all the Starship Troopers references and stuff, man.
I've never read the book. I actually based my interpretation. I watched the movie, which I liked a lot more.
Right, the movie is amazing.
Yeah. But also, I've just spent too much time around Griffin to consider reading the book.
Yeah, don't read it. It sucks.
I wouldn't recommend the book. I have read the book, but I wouldn't recommend it. I recommend watch the movie instead.
Yeah, because the movie at least does a good job of deflating the fashionable fascism.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for reading. That was an amazing piece. I'm going to read something. I think it's a pretty short piece that I published on the site today, and then I'm going to turn the rest of the evening over to Rudy here. So this is a chapter from a novel that I've been struggling to write for a little while now. I don't know if I'll ever finish the novel. I'm not hugely fond of the piece itself, but I kind of using the carrot of publishing some pieces from it on the website to keep me motivated. Anyway. The softness of my mattress is oppressive. If I try to sleep on my stomach or on my side, as I always did on my cot on the frontier, the feathers rise up around me suffocatingly, and panic tells me that I am drowning in down. I'm tickled as I choke, half humiliated, half asphyxiated. So I lie on my back and am startled awake during the night by the abrasive noise of my own snores. Or worse, I wake up panting and drooling, sure I'm being strangled, and feel death's proximity slowly recede. My mother, decades ago, when she was still alive, used to tell me, ad nauseum, the story of how one night, as a toddler, in the midst of a torrential rainstorm, I rolled restlessly away from her while we both slept, and off of our pile of straw. She found me, the next morning, face down in a septic puddle. She thought I was dead, but I was fine. Only the water was gray. I don't know if she told me this story as a cautionary tale or a ritual incantation against future harm, or if her mouth was just another open cavity for anxiety's winds to blow through. I miss that puddle. Dingy water can be spit out. Feathers stick to the back of your throat and have to be scraped off carefully with a trim fingernail while you gag. I've been disfigured by insomnia. The hollows of my eyes are always dark now, regal purple, another sign of distinction. I'm exhausted and disoriented. In the dark, on my back, I'm sometimes unsure if I'm staring at an open door or a wall, at the ceiling or the inside of my eyelids. I try not to think about coffins. Tonight, I fail. A thing moves in the doorway. At first, the delicacy of its movements make me think it's a cat, but the dogs lying around, and in one case on, the bed, don't stir. I experience a moment of irrational panic as I wonder if they're all dead, if maybe they all died at once, the victim of toxic gas or mass poisoning. But my neck won't cooperate with my desire to check to see if they're still breathing. I can't raise my hand to touch the side of the one on the bed to feel it in or exhale. I would call for one of them, but my mouth remains involuntarily clenched shut. And besides, I stopped naming them decades ago, around the time my son was born, when I realized that it made it less painful to lose them. The thing hasn't left the doorway, but it's now also in the room near me. It has no shape, but it's shaped like a man. It's black, invisible black. I know it's a young king, though his face is featureless, though his face isn't. Sometimes his tail twitches at the edge of my peripheral vision. He gets closer. He speaks. I don't see a mouth. I loathe dogs. His voice is effete, precise. He doesn't moan or howl. Nothing clicks or rattles or scrapes. His words are as clear as he is opaque. I'm captivated. I'm captive. I listen. They're dishonest, conniving, manipulative animals, parasitic on empathy. They'd rather cower and ingratiate than ask. They mime love and loyalty out of desperation, out of inbred neediness, because the only thing they understand about humans is how badly we want to be flattered and adored. They intuit our loneliness blindly, and their pupils dilate. And yet, the entire fucking time they are terrified of us, resent us. Look at their posture, eyes down, stretching to bow, practically hunchbacked, constantly vibrating with anxiety, anticipating their next apology. I think I just heard that one moan in her sleep. Maybe she's dreaming of catching you, or a rabbit with your eyes. You snore, and she hears its death rattle. I want to ask him if he has seen the soul of my son, if he knows if my wife is alive or dead, if one of them could visit me instead. But I cannot move, cannot speak. He pontificates, and I'm paralyzed. Have you ever been curious about the taste of dog meat? I tried to convince my chefs to organize a feast once. 12 dogs of each known breed at minimum, ship them in from every corner of the kingdom, import them from beyond our borders, send trappers to all the frontiers to procure samples of breeds that have arisen naturally through feral miscegenation. Turn it into a festival, a pageant, a parade. Imagine the variety. No other animal has been bred into such a wide range of unique forms, and presumably flavors. He sits on my chest, and I feel his weight, even though he's a ghost. My chest tightens, my lungs inflame. I hear his voice, my gas. Both are clear, but don't seem to coexist. They're not in the same space. Different sounds from different worlds. But his ass is undeniably on me. I'm certain I'm dying. And don't imagine an atrocity. Don't think that there would have been red-eyed children in the streets screaming for their abducted pups. Bitches whimpering as their bitches whimper. A black-armored soldier with a spear crouched beside every birthing hound, waiting to claim her firstborn for the king. Come on. The dogs could have been raised and fattened explicitly for the banquet table. I wouldn't have sent delegates to people's huts to impress their pets into royal service. It could all have been done dispassionately, bureaucratically. I'd say humanely, but break that word down and tell me what you hear. As he sits on me, as he smothers me, he's still standing next to me, still in the doorway. I can't see the dog at my feet anymore. I should be able to see her around the ghost, if not through him, but she's not there, even though I feel her weight just below my kneecaps. Nevertheless, my advisors told me there'd be a revolt if I tried. Not among the serfs, mind you. It's the aristocrats who would have cursed me in every language they've had the leisure to learn, who would have run me down with their hunting pack, while I futilely covered myself with dead leaves and tried to mask my scent with a luckier animal's piss. They would have devoured me. And worse, they would have attached a moral to the meal. It would have become a ghastly fairy tale passed through the generations. The king who ate dogs, the king who was eaten by dogs. All of the dogs are gone now, and he sits on my legs in addition to my chest. I wonder if they all crawled under the bed to hide from him, but I saw nothing move, can see no movement at all. He's getting heavier, but his tone is getting lighter, less spiteful, more comic. He loves to hear his own voice, loves that I can hear nothing else. The sound of my labored breathing is gone. I guess that I'm dead. Speaking of fairy tales, here's the lowest, most repulsive story that any one man has ever told another. A peasant is starving, so he eats his dog, reluctantly. You've heard it before, right? Probably with a few more maudlin details tailored to fit the teller's ulterior motives, a little more focus on the years they spent together if he really wants to wring out the sobs. How tough that meat must have been. Or more time luxuriating over the direness of the peasant's poverty if he has a social point to make. Every culture in the world must have some version of this story. They don't have a common language or folklore and see different gods as they lay prostrate before a pillar of stones that their grandfathers stacked. But they all know about the poor, sad man who had dog for dinner, the one true universal myth. That's how completely they've manipulated us. They've made dog stew our only shared taboo. They're probably cannibals with trepanated skulls and the skin of their cousin still between their teeth, who wipe their dirty, inflamed eyes at the thought of the man who had no choice but to cook his terrier. I know I'm alive because I can feel his tail tickling my nose. I want to sneeze, can't. Need to sneeze, can't. Pray to sneeze, can't. Would rather die sneezing than live anticipating the sneeze, can't. I'm in agony, he continues. I concocted hundreds of versions of this story. I would tell them to the servants, to the men and ladies of the court, to children, under the pretense that this was a true story I had heard, which is always however anyone tells it, by the way, regardless of how truthful they are elsewhere in their lives. And I'd watch them. I'd see how they reacted. How many of them I caught watching me in return, trying to give the response I wanted, hungry to curry favor. Dogs, 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 salivating. But so many of them cried, authentically, indisputably, passionately, blubbering, wheezing, snotty, vile. And then I would laugh and tell them it was all a joke, that I was playing with them. The peasant spared his dog and ate his son instead. My tongue rises to the roof of my mouth and finds a feather. The ghost vanishes. I can move again. All of the dogs are still here. All of the dogs are still breathing. That's it. Oh, I left Josh in the waiting room. Okay, I'm done. Rudy, it's all.
No, hold on.
No.
Really good.
Nice try,
I really like
nice
that.
try.
I really like that.
Yeah, no.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, that was amazing, and you had to finish it.
Huh?
You have to finish that novel.
Oh,
Nothing. No.
We'll see. I mean, I'm still plugging away at it. I write very, very, very slowly, and everything's a struggle. But I'm still plugging away at it. So
I really love the tail. It's such a small detail that really raises so many questions.
that was, I see. So one thing, I've only suffered from sleep deprivation a few times in my life. I went through a period when I was in grad school, actually, right before I dropped out of grad school, when I was really fucking depressed. And I started suffering from sleep deprivation. And most of the time, it was just like the most standard kind of thing, right? Where you can't move, you freak out because you can't move, and then eventually you wake up and you can move. But one fucking time, I like hallucinated that there was this dark figure standing over me, and I like knew intuitively that it was death and that I was going to die, and it was the single most horrifying experience of my life. But anyway, so when I was researching this, I looked into more like accounts of what people experience when they have sleep paralysis, and people see cats sometimes, and I thought that was really like really interesting, and I wanted to like make this figure like cat-like in a way that didn't lean too hard on like the black cat cliche, and I wanted to make it feel like irrational in the way like there was some detail, like there always is in dreams, that your rational mind can't square after the fact. So that's kind of where the tail came in, and I didn't want to use it too much. But yeah, thank you. I'm kind of
That was really good.
The one thing I really like about the sleep paralysis angle of it, or the sleep demon, whatever you want to call it, is the idea of like the panic of like half sleep paralysis. Because I haven't experienced it really either, although I've experienced something I think was similar to it when I saw like kind of like a figure or something when I was kind of half awake or half sleeping. But the shit about the dogs, like it being dead, like he wakes up in kind of like this panic state, and he's like, well, are they dead? Like, because they're not, that kind of, that logic there is really something that is very true to the experience of that.
Yeah, that's like that part is very much from like personal experience, because I will wake up, my cat, Mr. Bones, sleeps on me at night, and I'll like wake up in the middle of the night, and he'll be lying next to me, and I'll like have to check him and be like, "Are you okay, buddy?" And then I can go back to sleep. It's that kind of panic that grabs you when you wake up, and I wanted to like get at that, like
it's like dream logic, but it's not. It's like nightmare logic, kind of like dream rationalization.
I had a question about, was the dog eating parable or whatever, was that like partially saying that class is the only struggle that we have, sort of like we can't figure past that?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's very much it's kind of a class thing, and it's kind of not a class thing. I think it's very much like, I wanted to leave it very in this novel, I'm trying to leave like the magical and supernatural elements of it very ambiguous. So I want it to be kind of ambiguous whether this is like an actual specter of the previous king that he's seeing, or some kind of like working out of his like unconscious, like anxieties and resentments and shit. And I kind of feel like this character maybe is vocalizing some of the resentment that he has towards the people that he's ruling, that he can't really totally come to terms with, because he's so desperate to be like a moral person and like a good king. But the dog eating monologue, really, like, I wanted the speech that this guy gives to be a little irrational, a little weird. I didn't want it to be like he comes in and gives him this like lecture on like how it's better to rule as a nihilist, how like, I don't want him to be like, yeah, Nero was right, yeah, Raka, so that's kind of what it is. I wanted it like, the dogs are, I think, maybe like almost too obviously like a stand-in for like the kind of like how potentially like someone in authority can feel about the people under them, and the kind of fears and anxieties that you can have about, like, do they resent me? Do they hate me? Are they just trying to ingratiate themselves? That sort of thing. I think that's kind of what I was going for. But yeah,
No, I mean, it's awesome, and you should definitely continue.
I'm going to keep working on it. Going to keep next. I hit a snag over the holidays, but this week I'm back on my writing every day. I've dialed it down from 3 hours to 2, and I'm just going to keep plugging away at it.
Nice.
And hoping for the best here.
Nice.
Is this the same novel with the Dead King that you published late last year?
That was another chapter from the same thing. Yeah.
Just keep stacking chapters, man.
Yeah, I don't want to publish the whole work out of chronological order on Misery Tourism, but I might.
Stacks on stacks on stacks.
Just fuck it.
Yeah. Right?
Whatever keeps you going, man. That's good.
Yeah, that's true. That ain't
and
that.
if you're looking for a first book to launch the whole thing with.
We could be the
Publishing
platform
house.
that brings back the serialized novel, you know.
Hey, I wouldn't mind that. I mean, so many like legitimately great works of literature were legitimately serialized. Like fucking Crime and Punishment was serialized.
I was just going to say that.
It was.
I reread Crime and Punishment this year based off of the series. You can look up like where it, whatever.
Mhm.
And so we read once a week, me and my buddy, like that whatever one that came out, and it's such a different experience than just reading it all the way through.
Yeah. Yeah.
It would have never been published all at once. I maintain. Nobody cares about books that big, even in that era. I maintain.
What?
Austin's doing
Crime and Punishment. Crime and Punishment. Man, you and I are going to go back and forth about Dostoevsky until like violence breaks.
Nobody has time for books that long.
Oh no.
You're crazy. Long books, like once you know you like one, then you know you're in something for like a really, really long time, like a long period of entertainment.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
I tried Crime and Punishment. Just want to say this one thing. I tried Crime and Punishment. That was the first Dostoevsky I read.
Yeah.
I think against your suggestion to read Notes from Underground.
Yeah.
I said, well, I this is the one I downloaded, so I'm gonna read fucking this. So that to me is basically like going into like a high level area in an MMO and just getting dropped by the first fucking thing that you see, because that was like the absolutely wrong place to be. It's like, yeah, I can do the. Oh no.
Yeah, no. Start with Notes from Underground.
That's the way I feel.
Well, yeah, because it's inferior to Hunger by Hampson, of course.
No, hey, it's God damn it!
World Star.
Okay, really, I want to give Rudy the chance to demo his game.
So
here, I'm gonna get over to you.
I am not going to demo the long game. But I have another thing that I can use, the functionality that we tested, the screen share functionality, to actually do that. I've wanted to show it for quite a while. A couple of poems, actually.
Awesome, great. Take it away.
I guess you can call these visual poems, I guess. So let me just share my screen. Can everybody see that?
Oh, fuck yeah.
I mean, I know the text is pink and it's really hard to see.
No, I
Sorry,
like it. This is amazing. So interactive.
Yeah,
So-
you just somehow popped my Zoom into full screen mode, like without my permission.
I am really sorry.
Yeah, you did it to me too. I was actually just
Holy
tweet
shit!
with it.
This is a real invasion, but I like it.
Okay, so yeah, if you scroll up to the top with your mouse, you can actually like undo that. I think. If
I
you
don't know.
Okay. Either way.
Oh wait, yes, I have. Yeah.
Okay. Just so everybody's comfortable. Okay. Let me move this window around a little bit.
Yeah, I just hit escape and it let me.
Oh,
go
escape.
back.
No, you
Gotcha.
you screen domed me though.
Screen dominated. The first one I'm going to read is first of all, just to give a little context about these are really dumb superhero poems about really crazy ideologue superheroes who live in a world full of ideologue superheroes where people get powers from an alien monument that's really a roadside monument to some alien kid who died in a car crash. So that's a little bit of context.
Of course.
The first one I'm going to read is called Performing Supernatural Acts of Terror on the Global Stage is a lot more stressful than performing parlor magic at children's birthday parties.
Rudy, sorry to interrupt you. Before you start, do you have a link to this so that I can put it on the, so I can tweet it out?
Yeah, I'll link you afterwards, actually. How about that?
Sure. Okay, I'll tweet it out after you're done. Sorry about that.
He's Dom linking you.
Yeah, no problem. This particular poem is about a character called Alakazam. Allah spelled A-L-L-A-H. Kazam, like, magician. So I'll just leave it at that and go in. It feels as though real magic misses the point. Streams of luminescent gold or blue flowing from hands, eyes, mouths, cunts, or the miracles of a big blue dick, phenomenal cosmic something, who'd rather hang 10 on the waves of Europa. Stay here and hear the plebes. That's all great, but illusion in all its forms, dramatic pause, is so much better and harder than even that idol, that dick, that America's enemies knelt to. Wish, presto. I'm the frowning, smiling bomb in Muhammad's turban. Jews did 911 and 411 can also be blamed on a grave. Call 811 before you dig. Information age vertigo. Like 90% of the time, I'm on fire or deep in a box prescribed too soon. Escape is always disjointing. Dad, DOD, daddy. My always on male love-hate trinity appreciates how I bridge the generational divide between old wrath and new, using gap-closing sorcery, based, elemental, uranium, plus iron, plus evil, in the lithium era, and most days I'm ready to kill over and become a heap of Western spaghetti. So, a femme version of Brass Sword Guy in Raiders, whenever my head holds a gun to my head. My life ends somewhere dusty and scenic with a bang that scatters birds and forensic data for miles. Or at least those are the details on MSNBC, where some tart-faced dyke will heckle religion and cackle like a canid, signaling to their pack, what does the fox say? The truth is, I'll have slipped the vest on someone else through impossible legerdemain, and I'll be sitting in a cafe with a hometown shake, shuddering, enjoying some war and quiet in my invisibility cloak. Click. I feel safe. And that's the first poem. And the second one and the final one I'm going to read, if I can find it here, is called The United Nations Convention on Nanotechnology is Dumb and They Can Suck My Fucking Dick. This is a one about a guy called General Assembly who essentially was a UNICEF employee who became disgruntled and used nanotechnology to destroy Africa. No war. Dirty weapons sold dastardly to markets, war, peace, black as natives, dark souls, with an asterisk, sanction, noun, 1. Paddles break instantly on white hides, slaps champs, diplomacy is minigame. It's take me a while to scroll. Spec Ops the breadline. You're supposed to feel like an asshole, taking advantage. Little brown groids / cattle, rustle. Rockets, moonshots, hopeful symbolism, flags waving a power vacuum. I'm not saying there's no power struggle, but a struggle isn't always bad. Struggle means fighting your rapist.
Ah.
Oh no. 10-6. My office. United Nations stationery. Folders holding blood-stained pictures of ethnic cleansing that look like acts of experimental collage from the Old Testament, God's college days, ambiguously red soil. Tracked into a dirty APC. Belgians, French, half of Europe, stout boys. Eyes as blue as can be had without spice, without anyone behind them. Unremarkable brown eyes. Beady black, fixated eyes, watching me from canopies. Miasmic disquiet, too thick to cut with a hoodoo machete, a severed arm. Tootsie Pride. Football magazines. Polka music playing everywhere. Other things loved by the Germans. Technology zooms ahead. Slowly but surely.
That's the future. Yeah.
Technology will conquer, destroy, end, fix, detoxify, restore order to the region. Trademark. Technology will, and I'll let the thing finish it. Year zero, G8 Summit After Party, Grey Goo, while dignitaries sip Grey Goose.
Did you program this?
Yes.
You're so good.
And I'll let it run its thing here. I sit back and wait. Come on, come on. All of Africa is waiting for you. Come on. Oh, what's this? Come on. You got this. No war. No war. And that's it.
Honestly, Rudy, I know I've been like fucking like sucking your dick art wise, but this is good. This is good. This is art.
Fucking good.
I appreciate it. I hope it wasn't too hard to. I know the scroll, like I didn't really test it with
No,
that
it
particular
was,
piece.
it wasn't accessible. It was kind of like, you know,
Was it lagging a bit or?
No, it worked
I
shockingly
know,
well.
no,
And it was legible
yeah,
too.
it was exclusionary. It wasn't. It was exclusionary because people can't scroll. Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't
Definitely, yeah. It's meant to be scrolled by the user, I guess. Is
the user who's fully
You
able.
fucking win, Rudy. You win.
Right.
Man, you win.
That was, yeah, that was fucking
So
amazing.
good though.
I've seen this site before. Obviously, I love the fucking Nano Machine one where you just keep going to a level deeper and a level deeper and a level deeper. You know, it's oh my god, it's so good. It's so, and I've seen people do like multimedia poetry, and usually,
Pedophiles.
how to put it gently, it looks like some MySpace shit, right? It looks like some
Yeah.
GeoCity shit a lot of the time, and this is really good. And I love like the level of interactivity there. I love like the fact that you have to wait for the part of it to load, and all those little details are just phenomenal.
No, that was just your Rhode Island internet.
Now tell me, Josh, is this cyber writing or no?
I am not. This is the thing. I find myself often asked these questions, and I'm not the one. And nor is.
But you're an eminent scholar in cyber writing, though. I mean, one of many eminent scholars.
Yes. If I were to say though, I have questions.
Okay.
Because cyber writing depends on not only just the act of cyber writing, but what the intent of the cyber writer is.
Ah, yeah.
And so when you were ostensibly cyber writing, what were you hoping to accomplish?
Well, you know, I guess it's almost not really like a question for me to answer. It's more of a question, I think, for my character to answer that I was channeling at that time. So I guess to answer that question, for that nano machine one, I guess his ultimate goal was to conquer Africa and replace it totally with nanotechnology.
That is cyber writing.
Fair enough. Now I know I cheated a little bit there, but hey,
No.
hey,
No, that's it. That's all I wanted to hear. That's our only goal with cyber writing. Also, I'm not the cyber writing like figurehead. I think, and nor is Jake, by the way. It was I resent. And do you know that the back patio bitches, I put in my bio, Josh is not the author of the Dave account. And when they published my poems, it said Josh is the author of the Dave account. And it was all ha ha for everyone else, but I'm not Dave. So
Rudy, I would actually argue that this is the first piece of post-cyber writing.
yeah.
No, I don't fucking know. It was incredible either way, man. I love it. And you should, now that we know that the screen sharing shit works, you should, there's more than that on the page, right? You should show us some of the others.
Wait, Mullane is theorizing in the comment section.
uh-oh.
Oh, no. It was in response to the question about what did you hope to accomplish? I'll just read what I said because it was perfect. Bro, do you go on the computer hoping to accomplish something? And how come cyber writing must be characterized by a directive?
Fair point.
Yeah, sorry.
Gotcha.
I go on the computer hoping to accomplish punishment for myself, basically. And maybe other people sometimes.
Real, masochistic kind of thing.
Yeah.
I love it though. I love the punishment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Except for when so there was a notable alt-lit writer who was in the alt-lit. She was following me. She only followed 300 people and she had 2,000 followers. And she unfollowed me today, and I'll never know why. It's frustrating, and people don't talk about this, and it's fine. But does it ever bother you guys when, like, I noticed she unfollowed me. For a while, I was, do you know what I mean? Does it bother you at all, or do you not care ever?
No, because I have a really bad memory for that. Yeah.
Sorry, Mullane, I interrupted you.
No, but the side effect is I don't remember if people soft block me either. I don't think it's happened.
Oh, I'm so envious of that. It wasn't that I thought it was that important. It was just like I noticed, and then I was like, oh, I'm going to see what they're saying. It's like, oh, they unfollowed me. Was it the cyber writing tweets? Was it my incessant tweeting about cyber writing that did it? I don't know.
Who can say? I mean, with the Misery Tourism account, we follow back most of the people who follow us if we can.
Old guy questions.
And I go through every once in a while and look at the people who have just to take because there are these accounts that'll follow like 25,000 people.
Right.
So I go through every once in a while, check who we're following and unfollow people who have unfollowed us. And usually it's like, I don't know who that person is, or it's not surprising, or I look at their bio and I know immediately exactly why they unfollowed us, sometimes. But
she liked my brand and then she didn't. And I want to know where my brand went astray.
Little Josh, I would just say never reassess your brand based on one person's following or unfollowing. You gotta think bigger than that, man.
That's a good point. Although it's hard, it's so hard to I don't know, one follow. It hurts, honestly. It hurts
because she was but she was like one of my premium followers. She was one of the top tier followers.
Nah, man. Every follower has to be the same value.
It's not.
Let's get. What is this? You have tiers of followers.
She just couldn't handle your big dinky energy.
That must. On that note, I know we're probably gonna bullshit for a while, but I do want to end the recording before someone says something really incriminating. So with that, if you were watching this on YouTube, I said this at the beginning, but this is Misery Loves Company. We're hosted by miserytourism.com. Follow us on Twitter at miserytourism. And you can see when we post a link to this fucking thing every week. 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Thank you so much to everyone who read. Thank you, Griffin. Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Josh. Thank you. I always forget people. Thank you, Gabriel. Thank you, Jesse. And now I'm scared I forgot just one person, and that will seem like
ARD.
Oh, thank you, Brandon. Thank you, ARD. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone who read tonight. And thank you, Rudy. That was spectacular. Anyway, that's it. We're fucking done. I'm going to stop recording.